There's a lot of craziness that happened at the Magic Kingdom this week. We're going to talk about that. Food and Wine Festival is in full effect, and we've got words on that too. And Communicore Hall, we're going to talk about it all tonight on ParksCenter. Welcome to the Big Blue House. Thank you guys so much for coming to ParksCenter. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. We appreciate you being here. If you have not already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV for more great content. And of course, click that thumbs up as it helps people to find us. We got the team together. They're here. They are there. Starting with Shannon.
Oh, I'm in the top corner again. Yes. Hey, everyone.
2 weeks in a row. Desi.
Hey, howdy, hey. I'm not going to repeat what Pete said last week.
No, don't. Absolutely don't do that. And recent Floridian transplant. It's Allie. What's going on?
Not much. And now I want to know what Pete said.
After. We'll do.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was not safe for ParksCenter. I know that you and your significant other have said we should do a ParksCenter after dark sometime, and he's going to come on and talk. So we'll get that going, and when we do, we'll get Pete back on, and he can talk all about that. That would be great.
Perfect.
But again, thank you guys for joining us for ParksCenter for September 1st, 2024. We're going to get right to it. There was some madness. I was sitting on. I was watching, as we all do, social feeds, and I saw on X some very disturbing videos the other night, and I was freaking out for a minute, as the people in the park were. There was a kerfuffle, we'll call it, at the Magic Kingdom, and there was the thought that in a fight, a balloon had broken, and somebody thought that was a gun, and so there was the thought there was an active shooter, and we got to see how people react at the Magic Kingdom when we think there's an active shooter. The video that I got to see, which we'll show you guys in a little bit, was like it very dystopian. It was very strange looking. So I'm glad that no one was hurt and that it was kind of a false alarm. But Allie, what was the rumblings locally about this when it happened?
I was actually at work when all of this happened, not the Disney job, the regular job. So I didn't really see it until after I got home and was kind of reading through and like, ooh, that was not a great situation. Obviously, very happy everybody was okay. Horrible. I'm sure that was super scary for everyone that was there, but it seems like cast members handled it well. And yeah, I can't even imagine being there. That would have been terrifying if you truly thought that is what was happening. Wow, madness. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't love being searched when I go into the happiest place or the most magical place on earth ever, because it's a nuisance. There is not a time where I don't get flagged for my bag. I feel like it's fuel rods or I don't know what, but I constantly am getting flagged, and it's frustrating. But I'm glad that they're there to protect us and keep things like this from happening. There was a time when Disney Springs, right before COVID, wasn't checked, and now there's bag check there as well. So hopefully things like this are less likely to happen. But it's interesting that that video looked like, again, something very post-apocalyptic. I've never seen the Emporium that empty ever. I've never been in it when it was closed. Never seen the Emporium that empty, and like the stroller on the side was like more of like, picturing some horror movie where the stroller's knocked over and the wheels are still spinning. It was very disturbing. And again, to your point, it was really nice that no one was hurt. Desi, do you have thoughts on this before we move on?
I guess I was the of Allie. I was at my Disney job. I was at News Tonight when the story came out, and I didn't know anything about it until we got a super chat that was like, "Hey, what do you think about all this craziness that's going on?" Tom didn't seem that concerned about it, so I didn't find out what he was talking about until after the show, and by that point, it had been discovered that it was a balloon and it wasn't that big of a deal after all. In the parks and thinking that, so scary for those people.
Yeah, or like this view here with all the police cars lined up right there at the bus loop. Yeah, it's surreal. And again, nothing really happened, but the fact that like that puts it in your head, especially because you feel like you're in the Disney bubble and that things like that can't happen. That's just it shows that when things like that break, people respond in panic. And again, I'm glad that no one was hurt in that situation and that it was a false alarm. But I'm sure Disney is probably re-evaluating their their first response on things like that, and will continue to do so. Let's move on to happier news. Food and wine. Was not happy about that. Food and wine is one of the happiest things. And the EPCOT International Food and Wine Festival is in full effect at EPCOT at Walt Disney World. The funny thing is that, we've got a lot of new food, but we've got a lot of food that is returning. And for me, just thankful for everyone who hasn't had a chance to try the pickle milkshake, that the pickle milkshake has indeed returned. Allie, you've been boots on the ground in Epcot trying some of this stuff. This is your first, home field advantage Epcot festival.
It is. This was my first opening day Walt Disney World Festival. I got my Epcot shirt on and I already got one cheese stamp, so I'm really excited about it. I spent the morning. I was able to hang out with the WDW&T crew until about 1:30. We tried several of the new food items before I finally had to bail. It was not as chaotic as I thought it would be, which was nice. Maybe it was the date change, doing it, a little bit later into August. But yeah, it was a great first day. Tried a couple things that were really good and one thing that was absolutely awful. And I'm looking at you, Hawaii booth, with that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Already
bad.
you're angry at the Hawaii booth. That's crazy.
I mean, I was mad before we even got there, but I dragged Tom right over there. I was like, you and I are doing this because we have to do this.
Okay, so for those of you who have not been to an Epcot festival, and I assume anybody who's watching the show probably has, but most of the Epcot festivals have similar things. They have the decor banners that are hanging up all over the park. They have food booths. They have music. Usually, it's either the Candlelight Processional, the Broadway music, or some very older band, 98 Degrees, that comes out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's
yeah.
hurtful.
I know. I'm joking. It's fine. I'm not. But one of the things that they have too at these is like the completer treat, and you just alluded to that. Like they have like the whole, hey, if you go to these five, somebody has a corner office for coming up with this idea. If you buy 5 expensive expensive things on this thing, then you get a treat. You get a treat. You get a freebie, a completer.
A free treat, yeah.
Yeah, a completer treat on this is Emile's Fromage Montage, and you get this blueberry ice cream swirl. And I guess you're looking forward to that. Are you looking forward to most, Allie, the cup? Be serious. Be honest.
No, I just want to I
just
don't
want
need
your
more plastic cups. No, I've never been able to complete it because I'm never here long enough. But now I'm here and I
so
can
it's
do
the
this.
challenge.
I'm really excited for me. Yeah, happy for me. Except
I'm
I forgot my
excited
booklet
for you,
today,
too.
so I couldn't buy anything. I'm happy for me. I'll report back when I'm done.
Well, the griddled cheese I got to recommend. And then also
Okay, I
the
haven't had that.
Brazilian cheese bread is also pretty good because those are the
That's
things that
good.
those
Yeah,
are
I've
on the
had that.
list. And you said what was the one thing you got? The Macintosh?
Well, I did get no, I got the cheese thing from Hawaii. That thing's actually good. The new thing from Hawaii is terrible.
What is
I'm
the
Hash
new
not
thing
a
from
fan.
home?
cheesecake is good.
Okay.
Oh, it's like a Spam rice bowl that is just bad. So bad.
Yeah. Well, Desi, you're going next weekend, and you said you've made a list of some of the things that you're going to want to have when
I
you go.
have. First off, you mentioned pickle ice cream. I've noticed there is whoever is in charge of coming up with the food, I feel like really loves pickles. There's a lot of pickles happening this year. You have the Korean barbecue sandwich with pickles because, I mean, what else says Korea than pickles? The Wagyu sushi with pickles because, of course, Chicago style hot dog with a dill pickle relish and pickled sport pepper. That's a lot of pickle going on there. And if you didn't think that the pickle milkshake was enough, beer that you can try. So yum for anybody who likes pickles. But yeah, I am also really looking forward to some other things, like the unnecessarily spicy wings look amazing. I'm just a fan of anything spicy.
I think the Disney culinary team brought those out just to troll the vloggers who have to try them, right? Don't you think so? The unnecessarily spicy and extremely tasty. Have you seen the vloggers eat these? Because their faces are like blown off by it.
Tom and Eric actually liked them. Like, they gave it a really good review. They both enjoyed it.
But they like spicy.
They do like spicy.
Yeah, my son is very excited to try these, and he said he thinks it's all a hoax. He said he thinks that they're kind of faking it. He was like, because when we lived in Nashville, the Hattie B's, people would try it and they'd like be filming themselves and go, "Oh, it's so hot. Does anybody have any milk?" And all that. And I'm like, "They are hot." And he's like, "Nah, they're not hot. It's fine." So like they stepped up those wings this year. They're Carolina Reaper, and so yeah, I have seen some people suffer through them online, but doesn't mean I'm not going to get them. I mean, you know, and then chase it with a pickle milkshake. You are good to go. I did not hate the pickle milkshake, and also I like that I have the cup because plastic. I do want to pause for a second and acknowledge a super chat. So Shannon.
Oh, there's a spider on my wall. I got.
Okay.
Sorry, I got disrupted.
Well, we'll give you another chance later, hopefully. This is from Jungle Cruiser. Hey, everybody, you guys in Florida are tough critics. Was at Disneyland Resort, and a young girl wearing a WDW backpack said, Haunted Mansion Holiday sucked. It was not worth it. Well, she does not speak for everybody, my friend, because Haunted Mansion Holiday is the bomb, and I love Haunted Mansion Holiday, and so I don't know what she was doing. We don't claim her. We don't claim her. She's not part of the group, but Jungle Cruiser, we appreciate you as always. Thank you for the super chat. Shannon, anything else on the food part before we move on to the other sections of Food and Wine?
No, I'm just happy to have a festival back. I don't discriminate. I love all the festivals equally, and I'm happy to go try it soon.
Gotcha. And so with the festival also comes a couple other things, including the overlay at, and is this an overlay? I mean, for Living with the Land. I mean, they threw a table in there, and
they never stop doing these overlays. Yeah, they're great.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know what? It makes it exciting because it almost makes you feel like, let me get past the buffalo, past the alligators, and find out what they've set up in the sand in the greenhouses, right? I mean, I'm not trying to like.
No, that's what I want out of today. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how was it?
Yeah, it was great. I always like finding the little signs. I feel like they had way more signs this year. It was like almost every single plant had a sign. They had their little, the decoration set up like they usually do, but there were a ton of signs in there for all the food items. It was good. And it, a lot of people skip Living with the Land, which is a shame, but on the other hand, skip it so the line's shorter. But it's cute. I think it's a nice addition and gets people over there.
Well,
a good job.
You know what? Just make believe you're a tiny little seed. Yeah, exactly. The other thing that they have at all of these is the scavenger hunt. What a
I did that today
hunt.
Too. Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever, especially when I don't have to take pictures of all of them for the blog. So basically what they do is they have a scavenger hunt. You can look for free. Like you can take the kids around and pretend like doesn't cost money, but if you want the map with the stickers and the completer prize, then you've got to buy the map and then go get your prize, which to me, as like wanting to keep paper in pristine condition, I'm like, I want to put the stickers on, and can I just get the prize? And then they put the stamp on the back and we're good to go. But you did this today, you said? Did you get them all? Did you get your prize?
I bought the map on Thursday because as soon as I saw there was a Figment Bowl, in fear that the Figment Bowl would sell out, I bought that immediately. So I've already had ice cream out of my Figment Bowl, and it absolutely tastes better. But today I actually had time to go around and look for the little Remy rats. So I didn't find all of them because I got sidetracked and they sent me somewhere else, but I found like almost all of them, so it'll give me something to do. Yeah,
Gotcha.
some of them are really well hidden this year. I will give them credit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. That, I mean, you got to make it
Yeah,
a challenge, right? You gotta earn it.
yeah.
So the other thing that happens at these festivals is they have merch, lots and lots of merch. Last year,
So
it
much merch.
was just so much merch,
So
and we
much
have all
merch.
this available on wdwnt.com. But there's some Chef Figment stuff, some Chef Mickey stuff. There's a lot of different things that are in here, but I will say that the stuff that stood out to me was the Muppet
Yeah,
Lab stuff that's there. So,
Yep.
yeah, is this the stuff that you want,
great.
Shannon? You get you some
Heck
Muppet Lab stuff?
yeah. Yeah, this is great. I'm so happy that they brought the Muppets back. Honestly, I thought last year was going to be a one and done, but I'm happy to see that they're doubling down with the merch. The pin is really cute, so I will be buying it if it's still there.
Well, I mean, and then the other thing is there's like 10 pins or something like that for the
There were
for the food.
10, yeah.
It used to be like, oh, okay, there's one pin for flower and garden, and then there's a pass holder pin, and then there's 2 pins, and now there's 10 pins. And it's like there was a video I think that maybe our reporter Nana shot where she was holding them up like 2 different fans of
That
pins.
was me holding them, and
Oh, was
she
that
took the
you?
photo. That's
Was
my
that you?
hand, and I
Okay.
took the photo. Yeah,
Oh, wow, your famous hand model. That's awesome,
teamwork.
man. All the things that happen when you get there. Desi, any last thoughts on this one before we move on to the next thing?
I'm just excited to go and see everything in person.
Okay. Let's talk. Speaking about seeing things in person, let's have a hard conversation.
Oh no.
Communicore Hall, and I feel like Shannon is the perfect person to have on this one because she is a huge fan of the original concept, which was let's build something good. Let's build
Yeah.
this festival center, and it's a multi-level festival center that has like
Look
it
how
looks
cool it is.
awesome and futuristic,
Yeah.
and it's got foliage and trees and multi-levels and interactivity and all that stuff. And so that was the original plan. Then COVID happened. Then the next plan was it was something that was supposed to look a little bit like this, where you go in, and this was the last concept art that we saw for this, and it's like this exhibit space inside. And as a matter of fact, I was rewatching news today from last week when Tom was talking about that it closed for an entire day. They closed it, maybe even longer than that. They closed down Communicore Hall because they were getting ready to welcome everybody in for hold your laughter till the end, please. They were getting ready to welcome everybody in for the Food and Wine Festival. Now, before the festival happened, it opened up back in June, and in June I went there opening day, and I looked around and I was like, what the ever lovin'? This looks like the like it looks like the cafeteria at the Smithsonian. Like it doesn't
It looks
even
like
look.
my office cafeteria at
Yeah,
my
it's
everyday job.
yeah, it's very super generic. And we were like, okay. Then they had footage of what the press had seen that day, and it was like, oh, well, the press got to see it wide open and with more presentation. So when, when it opened on Thursday, I got to tell you, I'm not happy. So when it opened on Thursday, they had opened up these 2 food booths there, and then this garbage, this
Oh my
divider
gosh.
in the middle of the
Yep.
place. And then,
Yep.
so here are the 2 booths. One's for like, liquids, and the other one's for mac and cheese. Um, and then this looks like a rummage sale, honestly,
Yeah.
Yep.
with these racks that they've rolled out. And
Yep.
I don't know. Shannon, go first. Make it make sense because
So,
I'm
so many
so
things to
disappointed.
talk about. Can we just go back to that concept art for a minute? Because we need to give that a moment to shine. I mean, the original concept art. Because someone understood the assignment of what is a building that we can build in EPCOT today that looks like OG 82 EPCOT, right? Like this is bringing EPCOT to the future. And the fact that we get this, I mean, I think the funniest part of this all is that a week ago, 2 weeks ago, people were like, this will actually work out well. It's going to be an air conditioned spot to have your food and wine festival. Disney was like, psych, we're going to throw some merch in here on these rolling racks that, like you said, looks like a rummage sale. And then there are people who are like, well, surely they'll cover these giant gray walls. That's not an exaggeration. They are giant gray walls with, something thematic to the festivals that they can put up and take down. Still giant gray walls. So I don't know. This is someone better be getting fired for this.
Well, and what I wondered about is this something where like they're like, oh crap, we were supposed to do something cool for a festival, weren't we? Oh
yeah,
shoot.
it's like they panicked. Right?
Yeah,
like there was no plan.
That wall? What the heck? And also somebody made this point, because again, spent a lot of time on X this week. Somebody made the point that like, okay, so now you've finally opened it for food and you took out half the tables. Wait. Let's back up a second.
Right.
You opened it for food and you took out half the tables to fill the other half with merch when you could throw a rock and hit the creations store. Like it's
and
not like it's nowhere.
Elsewhere.
And
they have
the
little tents everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Allie, tell me why I shouldn't be mad.
No, you should be mad. I am mad. I didn't go in Thursday. I did go in today because I saw you guys ragging on this, and I was like, I have to go in here, and it is horrible. I will say, I just looked at my photos from today. It looks like they added a little bit of like purple lighting. Not that that is helping this at all. No, it's still not great. But yeah, like we need more places to sit and eat that are air conditioned. Why are you removing stuff from there for more merchandise? And it's the same merchandise at Creations and at all the other little tents. Like we don't need that. Horrible.
Yeah. Goofy guys in chat mentioning that like they also took out the couches and all that stuff. That stuff that again made it look super generic before, but at least it was seating. And now it's not. And then the stanchions, even like the switchbacks to get in line for the mac and cheese, are completely just random. And I really thought, man, and Desi, you and I have talked about this before. You're like, I will hold judgment until I see it. Desi, it's Judgment Day. Now. It's Judgment Day.
I am judging. Yeah, it looks like. When I was in elementary school and pushed half the tables to the side because it was book fair week. And so that's what it looks like. It reminds me of book fair week in elementary school where they just push some of the tables to the side so they can sell. I really had high hopes, but no, they fell flat on this one.
I love what Shannon said at the top. The original concept, they understood the assignment. Whoever got this assignment. But here's the thing. So I noodled on this, and I prayed to Josh that he's going to step in. I mean, don't you? Okay, so I prayed to Josh that he's going to step in here, and he's going to save this. He's going to go, guys, this is embarrassing. We need to fix this immediately. I don't care how much it costs. No, he's not going to say that. That's just ridiculous. Of course he's going to say money. But I do feel like this was this pivot was Chapek generation. Like with all of the cancellations and things that they did. So I don't feel like we can hate as much on it. I feel like they were kind of painted into a corner. It's embarrassing not only what this ended up being, Shannon, to your point of versus what it could have been, but how freaking long it took them to do it, because it was the last piece of EPCOT, because they're like, we got to get this right. No, they didn't do that. And then on top of that, I've seen people were posting on X about like, hey, remember what it used to look like? Yeah. It was wonderful. It had wall carpet. It was air conditioning. There was huge ceilings. Like it was fantastic. Anyway, yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like they needed to do better. I was hoping it would match the concept art. I thought, and I was saying to the family when we were there, man, come festival time, it's going to be completely different.
Completely.
It's worse. Somebody actually also posted like a Spirit Halloween banner, in front of it, because it freaking looks like a Spirit Halloween. It looks like somebody came in and set up temporary shop inside. It's not great. Okay, sorry about that. Just had to get that off of the plate. Wait a minute. We do have a super chat. Get it? Wait. Oh, I guess that's not going to work. All right. So Steve says Pluto ate the assignment. Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, Stitch.
I mean, Stitch. Yeah, Stitch ate the page. Poor Stitch. Come on. We need villains on the 404 page, not Stitch. Or maybe it's because we won't break. Ralph breaks the internet. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. All right, so let's move on to these other Halloween updates. So there are some new things that are happening for Halloween. We've been talking about Halloween since Easter, I feel like. But one of the things that happened is I want to start with the Disneyland food. And Allie, you are now on the East Coast, so you didn't actually get to go sample the Disneyland food. But when you were looking through WDWNT.com at all the reviews that were coming through, was there anything that stood out to you? Because I feel like Disneyland embraces the food like miles ahead of what Disney World does, and Disney World has 26 some resorts and 4 parks, and I feel like that all of the food just in Disneyland Park is more so when it comes to Halloween than we see across property in Florida.
Yeah, but I mean, like I always talk to Kevin about, like, you have to do that at Disneyland because the locals will then go because there's new stuff to do. I'm leaving Tuesday to go spend a week at Disneyland. I'm super excited to try some of the new food. And I have friends that are going to buy a one-day ticket to come meet me just to do Halloween stuff. So like that obviously works at Disneyland. Some of those cold brews looked really good. I think Eric reviewed most of the food. He said a few of the cocktails looked really good, so excited to try that. And then there's also a lot of returning food as well, because they know the stuff that works and that people are buying, and they're doing a better job of like keeping those things and having those things return, like simple churros or just add a couple spooky things to the churros. And yeah, they do a great job at Disneyland. And I wish Walt Disney World would do the same, because the few things I tried here were not it. They were bad. So bad.
I think you're muted, Rob.
Rob's muted.
You just have to you just have to let him keep going until he realizes.
Yeah.
He's gonna learn sometime. No, I feel like I need to save everybody from the clickety clack of the keyboard. So my bad. I'm sorry for trying to do a better show. Anyway, what I was going to say was that I think that with the Disneyland food, there's a lot of cool stuff. But one that I wanted to point out in general was something that was inspired by Tokyo, the Utundu chicken. Did you guys catch that? Like, and then also this Monstropolis float. But I guess it's Shiriki is the god, and there's chicken that means nothing to the people of Disneyland probably. But you know, Desi's probably like, I've been to Tokyo, right?
I have, but I don't understand what the chicken has to do with Shrieky. He's not a chicken. He's like a tiki idol. I'm very confused.
Yeah, although our reviewer lists it as tastes like Costco chicken tenders, so you know, maybe you don't try that one.
Yeah, we'll skip that.
I mean, my son loves Shrieky and he loves chicken tenders.
So win-win for you, right? Yeah. Let's get to the heart of the matter of what they've added about Halloween that makes us the most excited, and it's the popcorn buckets. There are 2 new popcorn buckets, one for California and one for Florida that have been announced. This Mater popcorn bucket to me is awesome. I have the original one, thank you, Allie, and also the Christmas one, also thank you, Allie. But
does that
like,
mean you need this one too?
I think you know the answer to that question. But yeah, it's awesome because it's Mater in his in his Halloween costume, and this is what he's wearing.
That's cute. That's really cute.
Yeah, when they do the Halloween. But this bad boy right here, when they announced this one, a big shout out to Alicia who sent this to me immediately when it was posted on X, and I was like, yes, because it mixes all of my favorite things. It's a popcorn bucket, it's Nightmare Before Christmas, and it's in Florida. Those are the greatest little.
Well, it's kind of in Florida because I'm annoyed because it already I already went to the party, and now it comes out tomorrow. So, like, I don't know. It's a little frustrating if you've already been to the party.
Or if you're not going.
Right.
Or if you're not going to the party.
But that's one of the things, too, that's different about Disneyland and Disney World when it comes to stuff like this, is that it's not paywalled behind, well, it is. You've got to get into the park. But, I mean, it's not paywalled behind a hard-ticketed event. Most of the time, when you're getting something like these exclusive Halloween things from Disney World, it's during the hard-ticketed events, I feel like, most of the time. Desi, are you sad that you don't have hands on either of these? I know that you're a little bit of a popcorn bucket fan.
I am sad. I mean, that popcorn bucket looks adorable. I also love the Nightmare Before Christmas and popcorn buckets. And it's sad that I don't get to have it at all. Also, I'm kind of hoping that when we get a more of a Cars presence in Florida, that we can get some of those cute Mater popcorn buckets as well.
Time to recycle. Let's get it all through. It's like, it's new to you, Florida. We're going to give you all of those things. You know what? Right. Yeah. That's a completely another conversation, though. One of the other things, and we were talking about the scavenger hunts, and Allie, you having to go through and catch all of the pumpkins in downtown Disney, because Pluto's Pumpkin Pursuit is back in California. These painted pumpkins, and honestly, like, I don't know what I think about the completer prize there. I think I might love it, but it also looks like garbage. I can't tell which is where I'm at.
Store.
Like one set.
Well,
it's horrible. It's tiny, and it has an interesting shape to it.
It reminds me of I think it reminds me of the well, it's got the Pluto ears on it. It reminds me of the original Orange Bird Sipper, like back in the day when it didn't have a face on it, but it just looked like an orange. And you could actually get orange slush in that, as opposed to now you can't get that anymore. But that's what it reminds me of. So, yeah, it does. The stickers on the back, like the Pluto on the front I get, but the stickers on the back with the bats and the Mickey faces, that's a little bit curious. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but... Anyway, so that's the additional stuff coming across the grounds. And one of the other things I didn't mention here, and I'll mention real quick, is that on our website we have a full list of all of the food and beverages coming to Disney Springs for Halloween. So there's eclairs and amaretto system, things like that. Oh, look, drinks.
Hey, see, this stuff looks good.
Yay, people in Florida like to drink, don't they?
Yes.
Shannon's like,
this one does.
Nah. Are you going to get all these drinks? Try them out?
Yeah, that'll give me something to do. Yeah, we'll go try them all, and those desserts look good too. I'll do that for you, Rob. I will go try them.
Aw, I was worried that you wouldn't actually, have fun while you were there, so I'm glad. Here, let's switch again because, like we said, we were talking about Halloween way back at Christmas. I mean, not Christmas, at Easter, but now we'll talk Christmas because we're almost 2 months to Halloween. I mean, it's not even close yet, but we're celebrating. And Disneyland has announced some of their Christmas offerings, which, again, happen, most of them, in the park during the day. They can't figure out what to do with that Fantasyland Theater, and it drives me nuts. The Fantasyland Theater, for those of you that don't know, in California at Disneyland, is a big footprint, a huge theater. Mickey and the Magical Map was there. That Lion King show was there for a hot minute. And in between times, they just fill it with, like, coloring and meet and greets and banners. It's just like, it feels like a huge waste of space. Am I wrong, Allie? It feels like a huge waste of space.
No, you're not wrong. No, you're not wrong. Yeah, it is a huge waste of space.
And then there's this Chippendale Ornament Trail. Now, I have thoughts on this one. So the Chippendale Ornament Trail, I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's these 4 ornaments. I think that may be your prize, maybe the completer prize. But I think it's probably another scavenger hunt through the downtown Disney district. But I have a hunch, and I would love to figure out once this comes out if it's right. Do you guys remember that there was a Chippendale Christmas or Festival of the Holidays scavenger hunt at Epcot, and then they replaced it with the Olaf one. I'm wondering, did they put all that in a box, the Chip and Dale stuff, and ship it to California and go, y'all do this, right?
Probably.
Do you remember that though?
Probably.
It was like, it was them, and they were gathering things to make Christmas ornaments. So, just saying, that big. I may have blown the roof off the dump here. I think I figured it out. Also, the thing that they love more than anything at Disneyland is a metal tumbler, right? Don't you all Did you have like 18 of those, Allie? There's the Halloween Magic Key one. Okay. Asked and answered.
They're great. They keep everything cold. I love them. I buy all of them. And I already have that
Right.
one. That one's a repeat they're bringing back.
Those sons of peas. So again, this is all the stuff that's coming. There's a Mickey pajama party coming to Storytellers Cafe, which is going to be the Disney characters in pajamas hanging out, and you get to go hang out with them for brunch. That sounds kind of fun. Sounds cute. Love Storytellers Cafe out there. A lot of cool things there. I want to bring it back though before we move on, and we should have this up. Before we move on, I have a question for Desi specifically about Jollywood. This question came because what we're doing on the East Coast is hard ticketed events, right? Mickey's Very Merry and Jollywood. So there's a lot of Christmas offerings, but you gotta pay up for. They're not included. You got to pay the hard ticketed cost. This kid, let's just say his name was Patrick Hackett, asked me. And I want to ask you, because you have kids and you went to Jollywood last year, do you think Jollywood is an event that kids would enjoy?
I mean, my kids would probably just like going and seeing all of the lights, but I did not bring them with me. It starts pretty late, so I can't imagine a lot of kids, at least not my kids and not Patrick's, because I think she's the same age as my boys. I can't imagine them staying up that late, and if they do stay up that late, I'm just going to say you're not going to want to be around them. People aren't going to want to be around kids who are up that late and grumpy. That's my nice way of saying that.
Okay. Well, and I was talking to someone else about it, and I was like, "You went to Jollywood last year. What do you think? Is it for kids?" And they're like, "I think it's a 18 to 21 only." Like, and I went, "No, they sell tickets for 3 to 9." And I was like,
Sure
I was like,
21.
I was like, it is Disney. No, like that was the cutoff. You had to be at least 18 or 21. Sorry, but I was like. I'm pretty sure it's Disney, and they will sell a kid a ticket to pretty much anything. So 3 to 9, there are tickets available for Jollywood. But yeah, I was struggling to think what would be good because unlike Mickey's Not So Scary, Mickey's Very Merry, there's a lot of things that are like you can see during the day or during a regular night. You can see the sunshine or the sunset season's greetings. You can see Gertie with the Santa hat, or the big ornaments in the water, and a lot of that stuff you can still see that. So I feel like I don't know what the advantage is unless it's maybe some of the special characters, but usually the characters are the ones that the adults are like, oh, I want to see.
And my kids they love Stitch and they love Santa. They would love seeing Santa Stitch, but they're not waiting an hour. My kids are not standing in line for an hour to see Santa Stitch. That's never going to happen.
Yeah. We have another super chat. Shannon, are you available? Are you ready for this? Stretch, get ready. Here we go in 3, 2. This one is from the Trauma Factor. It says, we never really got Communicore Hall, so I guess we will all still have to settle for early 90s Arsenio Hall. Well done. Well played. Well played. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you, Trauma Factor. Thank you so much. But yeah, like the Communicore Hall. You got me going again. Shake it off. I do tend to like to be positive about things, but sometimes something gets me. And Communicore Hall, man, it reminds me of how Kamila and I were like, wait for those barges when they're finally done and they're spraying water. They're going to be great. I believe in Disney. And then it was like, no, you're right. They suck. It's fine. Let's move on to the red car. Here's the thing about the red car. So if you have not been to Disney California Adventure since the remodel, where they took it from the oversized postcards and the big California letters to the early days of Walt and Buena Vista Street, then you may not have seen the red car trolley that goes up and down Buena Vista Street. It's one of those things that we talk about, like things like, oh, I don't know, the Rivers of America at Magic Kingdom, that it has this like sort of vibe that you get from it that gives you, I mean, it's the, what's the word I'm looking for? It's
Kinetic energy.
That's it, exactly
Yep.
it. It's kinetic energy, and it's coming through the town, and it makes it feel more like that, you know, the era that they're trying to show you here. And so it would come down Buena Vista Street and turn down Hollywood, and then it would go around the corner and go into the Tower of Terror, and all that made sense. Then they went, the Tower of Terror, we need to glue some pipes to this and make it look like the Guardians. And then now it's flying, the red car came back and drove into Avengers Campus every day, in and out of Avengers Campus. So like when the Five and Dime was playing,
Yeah.
that they would be like, you know, singing like, you know, some like big band music as they're like pulling into the Quinjets, you know, bass. So one of the things that our good friend Josh Shamaro said during D23, said a lot of things that sounded really good, but it was almost like, hey, look over here, we're going to make a Cars attraction. We're getting rid of the Rivers of America, but look over here at this beautiful Cars attraction. And I don't think he did it on purpose because it's Josh. But the same thing with the red car. As soon as they were like, hey, we're finally building this thing, it's going back behind. And I brought AV. I brought visuals. So I don't know if you can see this area right here. So you can see the tower, and then there's a building, this white building here. And then you go through the tracks, and then they house the red car back here. All this area that's a parking lot is going to be probably the show building for the new e-ticket attraction that they're doing. So all of the red car has to go, but as you can see through here, like it would come down Hollywood Boulevard and then turn and then go into pretty far into Avengers Campus and then pull in here. So Allie, thoughts on the red car? Are you going to miss it, or could it come back too?
I feel like there's a way that it could come back. Like I agree that the kinetic energy piece of it is really nice. It is sometimes a little annoying when you're walking around on those streets and it comes through and people don't pay attention, or you have to jump out of the way when it's crowded. But maybe there's a way they can just leave it parked in the front at that station, or just leave one of them parked at the front, so it's still there right when you enter the park. I feel like that would be a nice kind of, hey, we're taking this away, but it's still kind of here. Maybe they'll do that.
Okay. Hold on a second. I'm not
Now we
muting
can hear
so that
typing.
you can hear the clicking clacking. I'm not muting. You know what that reminds me of, though, when you say that is the Jolly Trolley from Toontown, because the Jolly Trolley used to drive through Toontown at Disneyland, and then at some point they just parked it and it became a photo spot where the little kids could sit in it and take their picture, and now it's gone. I just think you could redirect it. I don't know what you're going to do with Hollywoodland. If that's going to become Avatar, then I think it's got to go.
Yeah.
Then I think it's going to go away. If you're not getting rid of it, then maybe you figure out something where it turns left rather than going all the way down the street and turning right into Avengers Campus. It could turn left to the left of the tower instead of to the right. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I can't figure that out. But I will say that I think that I like the vibe that it creates, and so that's pretty cool. I did see in the chat, People of the Mouse said, wait a minute, where was it? At least the red car has seats, unlike our sad fake riverboat. Okay. Honestly, it really kind of it harkens back to the Main Street vehicles, right? It's that same kind of vibe as the Main Street vehicles. Is, you know, it's an era, but one of the other things is it's kind of like like an homage to Roger Rabbit because of the red car from Roger Rabbit and how they Oh, they talked about that. I don't know. It's a thing. I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned to people it's supposed to be leaving in 2025. I looked at the calendar today. It doesn't actually have dates or it has dates through October 13th. So I think you have time to, if it's ever been one of those attractions, and I think we've all had them, where you're like, I'm going to ride that someday, or Desi, I'm going to get on the Star Cruiser someday, and then you're like, I never got to do it. Then you panic. I think you've got time, but I'm not really sure how much time. Let's move on to reflections and think a little bit and reflect on the fact that there was supposed to be a hotel over by where the River Country, Disney's version of an old-fashioned swimming hole, used to be. And they cleared the land and filled in where all the towels and everything that were left behind from River Country when they abandoned it in a hurry. Again, talk about post-apocalyptic. And so we've been talking about this ever since, I think, D23 2019, maybe, that they were going to do this Reflections Disney Lakeside Lodge. We had the plans for it on WDWNT. We actually had them up on our website. That I don't know how we got a hold of those, but we did. But this is a hotel that's been planned on a piece of land that has not been touched pretty much since all of that. And now the formerly Reedy Creek, now I have to read Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, or CFTOD, they've filed with them to say, hey, you know what, we do think we're going to build something here, but I don't know why they wouldn't have mentioned this if they're really planning on going through with this, why they wouldn't have mentioned this back in the day when Josh was going through all of the cool things that were coming. It seems like it would have been an easy grab. I don't think we really talked about any hotels. He didn't talk about the finishing of the Polynesian Tower. He didn't, to my knowledge, talk about any of them. But Shannon, are you expecting this is going to happen, and have you already made your reservations to stay there?
There will be no reservations there. Do I think it's going to happen? Yes, I think so. But I don't see how this is not going to disappoint people. I'm kind of stuck on the fact that they're using the word lodge, because we know that this is just going to be a copy and paste of the Holiday Inn, right? You can see it in that concept. The concept art isn't even trying. It's boxy, square, modern. It's not a lodge by any means, especially not Wilderness Lodge or any lodges that you'd actually find across the U.S. So no, long story short, I will not be going there, but they're probably going to make it happen because they just want to utilize that space and want to make more money.
Okay. Desi, if you had to choose between Reflections and the Island Tower, one must go. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
Reflections, because at least the tower will have the Moana splash pad. I think there's a reason Josh didn't talk about any of that stuff, because nobody wants it. Nobody likes it. It looks terrible. The only thing it's got going for it is the Moana splash pad. So I can understand why he didn't want to talk about that. I can understand why he didn't want to talk about Reflections, because then it's like hey, remember that thing we canceled? Maybe we'll bring it back. I don't know. But maybe he doesn't want any more of that blue sky stuff, because I think he got harassed so bad about it the last time. Like, everything's blue sky. So he wanted to be like, here's what's actually happening theoretically.
Who harassed him? Oh, wait, we did.
Rob Whiteside.
I know. It's like, hey, we're in D23. We're unrolling everything that we're going to be doing. And then it was, what if all of these things? What if? What are you talking about? What if? Are you doing it or not? Are you actually doing something? And then it's like, hey, we're going to do Moana Land and Zootopia Land where Dino Land is. And Desi's like, yes, I love that idea. And it's like, psych, it's going to be Casita and Indy. And she's like, my kids like Indy. It's fine. All right, let's talk about this. Downtown Disney. God, Allie, do you have a love-hate relationship with Downtown Disney? I feel like it's one of those things where it's kind of like when Walt said that Disneyland would never be finished. I think he specifically meant Downtown Disney will never be finished.
That's
because
what it seems like.
Right? There are new announcements about the Earl of Sandwich Tavern and also this Avengers Reserve, which sounds like maybe a beer it's Avengers Reserve, and then this like this like high end looking like Disney store that they're doing here, and then the confectionery is transforming into Disney's Wonderful World of Sweets. That's a lot to take in, honestly. Are you excited about that, Allie? I mean, do you have thoughts on this?
Yeah.
I wish they would just finish the freaking thing, because it's been, I don't know. Every time I've been, it's always like something else is closing or there's some new plan. But these look cool. But where are they going and when's it happening?
I mean, we know where everything's going for the most part. The steak barbecue place is going into where Tortilla Joe's is. I think that restaurant sounds cool. I'm here for that. I don't know exactly where that Avengers store is going. I would assume in that big building that's been behind the walls next to the monorail is where some of these things will go. I think the Avengers store is a great idea. They have the Star Wars store for the people that don't want to go into the park. So if you're a Marvel fan, now there'll be a store for you. Easy cash money. I love Earl's, so Earl's having a tavern, that works for me. I'm here for all of that. Yeah, that looks not great. I don't love that design, but
Wow.
don't love the design. I didn't see that yet, but I love the idea of it. Eventually Porto's. We all know everybody's excited for Porto's, if and when that comes. The
Now,
candy
see,
shop
see,
was tiny. What? Yep.
Portos. I
Yep.
said to you something about that. I said, my boy Josh promised me. He gave us samples at
Well, I think they
D23.
got roasted when they said that it was that rumor came out that it was maybe not going to happen, and I think everybody like called them out on that, and they must have figured it out.
I don't know.
I don't.
I mean, I'm
We'll
sold.
see.
I want it.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. It's a weird
Okay.
location for it because but no, I mean, like you, I just want it to be done. I cannot remember the last time there was not construction there.
Isn't it one of those things though where it's going to go where La Brea was, where Earl is now? Isn't that where Portos is supposed to go? Like right there
Portos
in
should go where La Brea was, and then the Earls has that weird little temporary trailer thing over off by the building formerly known as ESPN, by the security that may or may not still be open. Yeah, it's all going really well. And then the Earls is going over, so it's got to be where that new building is over by Din Tai Fung, which is a fantastic addition. Go immediately.
It's all going really well. Before we go into the next thing, you got another super chat, Shannon. We got one more I need here.
I guess so.
Yay! All right. Steve says the island tower is
Yes, it is.
essentially the reflections plan in a different color.
Yes, Steve.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Honestly, I think that the reflections has a little more character than the island tower does. I remember that Desi didn't like it, but then they went, "Hey, what if we put a Moana?" They must have done like a deal behind closed doors. What if we put a Moana splash pad? And she's like, "Okay, I'll endorse it. We're fine. We're
I didn't
good."
say I endorse it. I just said between the two, I would take the Moana splash pad.
And then now that Allie's there, she texts me and she's like, "It's worse than I thought."
It's
Like
bad.
seeing this in person is worse than I thought. Yeah, I don't
How
know.
does your husband feel about it?
We were at the Poly yesterday at Trader Sam's, and I wouldn't even let him walk past Trader Sam's. I just turned him right around back to the parking lot and said, "Nope, we're leaving." Yeah,
You're like-
he saw it a few weeks ago. It's bad. He hates it. Horrible.
You're like, I do
It
not
looks like a
want.
Marriott. It looks like they're building a Marriott in between these two beautiful resorts.
Do they not have Marriotts in Hawaii?
Okay, are we gonna go there right now?
Nah, let's not. Let's go over there. Let's talk about. There are normally, we don't spend too much time talking about the overseas parks because other than Desi, we don't all get to go to those things. But there are two things that came up this week that I thought looked really cool, and one of the things we knew was coming, that for the 30th anniversary of Storybook Land Canal Boats in Disneyland Paris, they added some things. You can see the up house here. That is the smartest thing I think I've ever seen, is the idea of adding the up house to the Storybook Land the boats. And then when you look through here at some of the other little things, the Winnie the Pooh scene with the 100-acre wood, and then here's Frozen. There's the up scene again. Like, that's really cool. And then Japan's like, wait a minute, you think that's cool? When this poster first came out, I thought, that's weird. It's a small world with Groot. That's a little weird because
it's blasphemy is what it is.
Well, you don't care for it, I see, but it's Groot, like it's baby Groot. And look at like small world version of Thor. You're saying that's not cute, Shannon?
No, we always talk about Walt rolling in his grave. Mary Blair, oh my gosh, she's turning 1,000 rotations per minute. This is terrible.
Wow.
There's some things you don't touch. There's some things you don't overlay. And I feel like small world, you don't touch that.
Well, I think Desi may think differently. She looks like she's sad.
I love it. It looks so cute. So adorable. With the green
perfect.
hat. Like, oh my gosh. And I mean, obviously I was just in Tokyo and my kids loved seeing the Disney characters on It's a Small World. They had never seen that before because obviously here in Florida, we just have regular It's a Small World without, all of the characters in it. And they were like, look, it's Pinocchio. Look, it's Peter Pan. Like, we don't get that here.
Oh,
and
no. Look at this.
look how cute.
It's so cute.
You can't tell me that's not adorable. Come on.
That's so funny, the difference between the two of you. Shannon's like, oh my God, we've all died. It's horrible. How do we stop this from happening? And then Desi's like, okay, we need this. We need it now. We need it here. We need it everywhere. Let's just green light it everywhere. Let's just make it happen. So funny. It's so funny.
So cute.
You know, the funny thing is my wife is an old school East Coast It's a Small World super fan. Like the whole vibe is she's just all about it. When I told her about Disneyland originally getting the characters, she was like, that sounds awful. Like, why would you do that? Very similar to what you're talking about, Shannon. It's like, why would you do that to such a masterpiece? And then we went out and did the original, and she's like, oh, that's cute. I like that. Okay, all right, I'm in. And so, like, now she's like, when do we get them in Florida? Like, let's get them here. Like, there was rumor that they were doing that.
Tonight at story time, before I put the kids to bed, we read the It's a Small World little golden book that had the little Disney characters added into each of the scenes. And when we got to Australia, there was no Disney character there. So my kids were pointing at just whatever the little boy was and was like, who's that? I'm like, I don't know who that is. That's just some boy. They should put Bluey in there, is my opinion.
Wow, Shannon, thoughts? Rebuttal before we move on from that one?
No, we're done. We're moving on.
We're done. Allie, any thoughts before we move on from that?
I'm with Desi. I think it's cute.
Okay. Well, last week, Allie, I was going to talk a little bit about Critter Country / Bayou Country, and it was me and Pete and Shannon and Desi, and Shannon and Desi said, no, we are not talking about that. So thank you for being on. I appreciate that because I was thrown when I was at Disneyland this last couple of times of the idea that you couldn't get through to go to to Galaxy's Edge on the side on the left-hand side because everything was closed. The canoes were closed. The Columbia was closed. There's walls in front of the Haunted Mansion, which was closed at that point. We all know that Splash Mountain has been closed for making room for Tiana's Bayou Adventure coming November 15th. They closed the entire Critter Country. And then while they had it closed, they're like, oh, well, you guys won't mind if we just change the name to Bayou Country. Were you shocked by that idea that they changed it to Bayou Country?
No, I'm not shocked. I think we all knew these changes were coming. Again, I'm at the point where I was with EPCOT, like, let's just be done with it. That path is now open. The Tiana now looks a lot more like the one here in Florida. And it just seems to all be coming together. I don't know exactly what they did to Winnie the Pooh, probably just freshened it up, and that ride always can use that, so that's cute. But yeah, parts of Winnie the Pooh are disappearing, which is sad, and I know people are sad about that, but Tiana is coming. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's just embrace it. I finally rode the ride here. I liked it. I hope it's the same at Disneyland and they add the little touches. And again, it just needs to be open. So we got what, about 2 months?
Yeah.
Oh, and the restaurant, the retheming of Hungry Bear. I think that's fantastic. A nice little nod to the Country Bears. Great. Like, no notes on that. Looks great.
No notes.
Menu looks
Wow.
great. No, menu looks great. Like, they didn't completely destroy it as a nice nod to Country Bears. Great. All well done. Well
Do
done,
you think
Disneyland.
that, would you say in Shannon's words that they understood the assignment with that with the Hungry Bear? With the Hungry Bear.
Yes.
Okay.
With the
All right,
Hungry
cool.
Bear. Yes. Nice changes.
Yeah. But it's just weird to me because now we've made, instead of like, Critter Country, it's Grand Avenue West. I mean, it's basically you got rid of a lot because Tiana's Bayou Adventure theoretically is still in New Orleans Square. But now we have this offshoot, and again, Critter Country, the name has been changed so many times, it's kind of insane. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to going back and seeing this stuff. It was neat that they were able to refresh, Winnie the Pooh and some of that other stuff. And not everything's open. There are a couple of the shops that'll be tied into Tiana's Bayou Adventure that that will probably open on November 15th. Do you think they'll do previews? Like, I don't remember Disneyland doing a lot of previews like Disney World does. So Disney World was like, oh, wait a minute, we've got to do previews for DVC, we got to do Club 33, we got to do AP, we got to do people with, who still believe in Sears. Like, we got to go through the whole list and make sure to check and that everybody got a preview. Everybody got a preview? Like, if you didn't, then what are you doing? Do you think they do previews?
Now that you're saying that, probably not, or maybe just media preview, and that's going to be it. Yeah, because Railway didn't get a preview, but Galaxy's Edge did previews, so I don't know. To be determined.
Okay. One last thing. How happy do you think this woman is to be sitting by this pin board? Like, that's her job, is to sit by the pin board. And she doesn't look too excited.
I mean, I could think of worse jobs to do.
She does have a seat though, so that's she's got that going for her, which is good.
Seat in the shade, it's working out.
Yep. All right, so let's move on to this. So once upon a time, kids, there used to be 3 count them, 3 water parks in Florida for Disney World. River Country, Disney's version of an old-fashioned swimming hole, basically became toxic, so they closed it down and they just paved over it and said, maybe we'll build a hotel here someday. Maybe we won't. But they had Typhoon Lagoon and they had Blizzard Beach, and both of them had, like their own camps of people who liked them. This, and it's like, what a blessing, with the blessing of size here, to be able to have 2 high-end water parks. And then there was this thing, COVID. I don't know if y'all remember, but so COVID came and they closed down at Disney, and when they opened back up, they opened up 1 water park, and then they were like, when that was, let's mix it up a little bit, we'll close this one down, open the other. And it's this thing where they pass in the night and they never see each other. And so it's just funny to me that they've got these 2 huge properties, and they keep them closed for like months at a time. And it seems like, I don't know, it seems wrong. And, maybe it could be, and again, listening to news today, the thought was, well, maybe it's because there's not as much demand for water parks anymore, or maybe it's because they can swap the cast. But it seems to me that, the 4 parks that we have are overflowing usually. I know that attendance is weird now, but overflowing with people. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to usher them into these water parks, even if you were giving deals? Shannon, I don't know if you ever go to the water parks, but I want to start with you on this one.
I love the water parks. I always tout them as being great experiences at Disney because they're a lot better than your average run-of-the-mill water park. They're highly themed, they're clean, they're fun. I personally enjoy Typhoon Lagoon more, so when it comes to these situations, like I am planning to go to Typhoon Lagoon on my next trip, and I panicked for a moment trying to scroll to see when the closing date was, because truthfully, like, I don't think I would go to Blizzard Beach if it were the only one open at the time. So I don't know why they're doing this. I agree with you. I think you should have both of them open. And it just stinks for people who would really want to go to one or the other, and they can't because it's closed for 6 months out of the year.
Well, I mean, it is kind of cute that it's November 4th, I think, when they do the switch, and it's getting close to Christmas and winter, and so Blizzard Beach, and oh, isn't that cute? Why don't we open the one that looks like snow for the winter? I guess I don't know. I mean, Allie, you are a brand new resident of that area. Did you upgrade your annual pass to water parks and more? Or are you like,
I
no,
did.
thank you, just H2O Glow?
Oh no, 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 I upgraded. I sadly haven't been yet. But no, I like both of them. I wish they were both open at the same time. I am partial to Typhoon to like that a little bit better, but I didn't hate Blizzard Beach. But I mean, there's got to be a reason. There's probably not the demand, but it seems like maybe at least Friday, Saturday, Sunday, open both of them, and then maybe alternate from there. Like you probably don't need both during the week. I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird that one of them just sits there empty for months.
Yeah, yeah. Desi,
Yeah.
close it out.
I feel like they do zero advertising for the water parks, and that's why
Agreed.
nobody goes. I know that when I was little, my favorite VHS was the Mickey's Beach Party, where they went to Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach, and I was like, yeah, I want to go there. That looks amazing. They don't advertise the water parks. It's mostly like, we have these 4 parks, and yeah, I guess you could do other things like go to a water park or play putt putt if you want to as well.
Yeah.
It seems
Uh,
like it's an afterthought in the advertising, and that's why nobody
yeah,
goes.
I see that Steve says in
Yeah.
chat, aren't they going to be giving free water park admission to hotel guests for their first day of arrival starting on the 20 or starting 2025? I do remember they were talking about doing that because I think when that came up, I thought, really, your first day? That's awkward. Like when you first get there, if you get there and you can check into your room and then change into your bathing suit and go out there, okay. But you can't change into your room isn't promised until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and these close at
Right.
5. Like, I don't know. It seems a little bit weird. To like the timing of that. I feel like that's sort of a gift. That they're giving you, but I would like to see more things like that. There used to be a thing when you would book through Disney, and they would give you like through the Disney Travel Company, and they would give you things like a free something, like you get either a free round of mini golf at one of the 2 mini golf places or a free into one of the water parks or whatever. So I feel like it would be better if it was on your own time, but I get why it limits you a little bit. So at least they're offering it, but most people will probably be like, nah, that sounds like too much trouble, I'll pass.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like you've got these two. Somebody said something about Volcano Bay, which I've never been to Volcano Bay. I only go to these water parks because they're Disney water parks, not because I love water parks, but because they're Disney water parks. And so I like them both. I don't know what Shannon has against Blizzard Beach, but I do know that both of them I feel
I
like bring
don't.
something different to the table. And at different times I've been involved or excited about different ones. When they added the Misadventure Falls, I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's go to Typhoon Lagoon. And, I do like the vibe of Blizzard Beach. So I don't know. I just wish that they would do it only because they have so many hotels. They have very little capacity in the parks usually. And during the busy seasons, it seems like it would be nice to have another outlet for things like that.
Yeah.
Mirabelle's sisters are finally getting a meet and greet, and that's going to be out in California. And I think this is Isabella and Luisa from Encanto will be premiering at Disneyland this week. I have not told my wife about this, but I should because I feel like if she could meet Luisa, we could go.
She
'Cause
did
she's
body
a-
check somebody to see Casita.
She did. She is a huge Encanto fan. So the Madrigal sisters are coming to Disneyland. Are you excited about that, Allie, or you're going to be there when they're there? Are you going to go meet them?
No, I'm not a character person, but
How
I'm
dare
happy for
you?
the people that are excited about it. No, I mean, it's always great to add new things. This is something that probably should have been done a while ago. It's a great idea, just not for me.
Okay, all right. And Desi, this is. Do you want this to come to Disney World, or are you good with what we got?
I mean, personally, I would rather see Bruno, probably just because my kids would be more excited to see Bruno. Um, I would guess that once, that opens in Animal Kingdom, we will get, if not just Mirabelle, then maybe Isabella and Luisa. Maybe Antonio makes more sense if it's going to be Animal Kingdom, but we shall see.
But I mean, Antonio is a little kid.
I know. I don't know how that's going to work.
Well, I guess they pull it off sometimes with characters like Hiro Hamada, who's supposed to be a kid.
But he's more like a teenager. He's not like a little kid.
Yeah.
How old is Antonio supposed to be? Because like with Miguel, they have him like as a
puppet,
not a face character.
a head character. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have eyes on how old he is, but anyway,
he looks
I was trying
young.
to make it.
He looks
I was
like
going to make
8 to 10.
a transition to talk about this fella. So I called it Baymax Land, but it's 1 year since San Francisco happened, and I remember when they announced San Francisco at D23, and it was people were on the fence. Some people were like, "Well, you're just continuing to take the California out of California Adventure," and so they showed what it was going to look like and the concept art, and it was not something I think that most people were expecting. They had like this concept art that was up of like the bridge and what it would look like, and then they brought like Baymax in through the corner like this, and everybody in the place went nuts, but a lot of people were on the fence, and I think no one was more excited though than Allie, because she loves her some Baymax, and so it is the 1 year anniversary. But before I ask you about it, one of the things I think is kind of funny is it's a weird little land, because Pacific Wharf was just basically like food, and it was like the bread tour, and back in the day the tortilla tour, which then ended up becoming Ghirardelli, and then there was just like food, but it's good food. I mean, like you've got the Chinese food and Mexican food, and you had the little cafe with the bowls and all that stuff still there. But they were like, let's just retheme this to San Francisco. And I was like, okay, what's the big deal? You just got restaurants, and now they're going to be themed towards Baymax instead of themed towards Pacific Wharf. Like, why would you spend that much money to change it? But there's an Instagram reel that they posted with Scott Adsit, the voice of Baymax. And when you watch this reel, he's you see him. First of all, it's a little jarring if you're a kid to see Baymax, and then it's like, hey, it's me, Scott. I was like, Pete from 30 Rock. So he's going in here and he's doing like a tour, and everything they're showing, it's like, this must be a massive land. Look at how much time he's spending there.
Oh.
And all the different restaurants, and he bit off Baymax's head, and he gets a free hat if he wants one. And then he goes and he's eating Baymax every chance he gets. He's chewing on Baymax. And then he goes and meets Hiro, which this is why I was saying about the character. Like, he looks a little bit older than Hiro should, maybe? I don't know. But again, they don't show Baymax in here, which I thought was interesting. But you see him walking through, and he does the fist bump, and then he walks off into the sunset. But like the way they make it look, it makes it look like it's such a lush land. I feel like you can get through it in about a minute if you walk, if you don't break stride, right? Ooh, I've touched a nerve. Talk to me.
Just don't go. No, the land, the footprint is not a huge area, but no, it's a cute little land. The detailing is really good. And like you said, that used to just be an area for food, but now there's a meet and greet, there's shops, there's, they do something for Oogie Boogie, and
medallions.
They bring in different things. There's medallions. Yes. There's a new themed restroom. It's all happening there. It's cute. I think they did a good job with it.
I love the way you finished that off. There's a new themed restroom there. It's all happening.
It's all happening. No, like restrooms... that place, it's always packed. It's always packed in San Francisco. The food is good. They did a good job.
Last time I was there, I ate at Aunt Cass's and got the I think it was the curry in the bread bowl, and it was really good. So yeah, I enjoy the food there, and it's neat to see the vibe. And then like my son loves like that they play the kind of like anime music in the background while you're there. And
I think it's from Tokyo. Some of it's from the Tokyo
Is it
part.
the Happy Ride music?
Some of it is that, yeah.
Desi's like, I went to Tokyo. Yes,
I
exactly.
love the dancing. It's so much fun.
Awesome. All right. Well, we ran a little bit over. Apologies to Shannon, but I do want to say thank you so much for everybody on the panel here. Thank you guys for watching. I know it's a holiday weekend, so we appreciate you spending your time with us. Want to give a shout out to our wigs, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. We love our wigs. If you want to learn more about that, it's our Patreon program. You can go to patreon.com/WDWNT. Just a reminder, if you didn't tune in last week, Desi and Shannon were both on with Pete, and we talked about Oogie Boogie a little bit and some strange tales from the parks. I know it's a little bit unnerving for you. I'm sorry. I know you hate that character look. But coming up this week on Deep in the Plus, Shannon is coming on to talk about Toy Story 1, which will be fun and exciting. I know a lot of people are like, wait, you've never done Toy Story? We did 4 only because Desi wanted to tear it apart. Then we're going to do Never Been Kissed, Return to Oz, and then Desi's going to be on talking about EPCOT becoming. Now that you're on East Coast time, Allie, maybe you'd come out and talk about something on Deep in the Plus sometime, maybe.
Never Been Kissed. That's a blast from the past.
Well, and here's the funny thing is
that movie.
it's actually a Disney Plus movie. That's weird. Like we were talking about.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, Desi and Shannon and Nick tried to pull that Thing You Do is a Disney Plus movie because you can access it through Disney Plus, but it's a Hulu movie. You know what else is on there that links through Disney Plus? Aliens. Let's do Aliens.
We'll do that after.
Oh, okay. That Thing You Do first, then Aliens, then I don't know. Is there a Slaughterhouse on there? Let's get that done too. It's been the one rule is that it just has to be on Disney Plus, and if it says on Disney Plus because of Hulu, that's that. I don't know. We'll add that to the ParksCenter After Dark list and like deep in the
House
Hulu,
of the Dragon,
I guess.
I see through Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Yeah, all the good stuff is on there. It's great. Just a quick shout out to our wigs. We do have a post show for our wigs members after this, and so thank you guys again for being with us. Thank you, panel. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. If you can join us for Deep in the Plus this week, that's Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Otherwise, we will see you next Sunday at 9 p.m. for another ParksCenter. Have a great week, everybody, and enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Take care. All right. Hang with me for a second. I want to see if I can switch this up here.